Hello and welcome to episode number 7. Before we continue, I want to thank each and every person who took a forward step to learn something new and decided to join us in this journey. Now, today's video is all about a roadmap to become a cybersecurity expert in 2021. Now, a lot of people have asked me how to start, how to step into this field, so here it is. In today's video, we are going to cover following topics in details. What is cybersecurity in general? What is the difference between ethical hacking and penetration testing? Who are those people and what are their roles? What are their jobs? And if you decide to step into this field, what is your role going to be? If you're still curious about where to start and what you're going to do and what's going to happen, how long will it take, by the end of this video you will be very much familiar with your path, and it will help you take decision very quickly and to identify your position within this industry. So what is going to be the starting point for students, for IT professionals, for people coming from other professions? I have seen a lot of people switching towards cybersecurity just because during this pandemic, everyone was affected, and only one department that stood strong was cybersecurity. The more applications and their implementations will go out there, the more cybersecurity analysts and experts you will need. To start within this field, do I need any kind of special degree or certification? We are going to look deep into it. And whether is it possible for me to land a decent job? Is there any kind of return of investment? How long will it take for me to be there? So we are going to talk all of these topics in detail one by one. But first of all, cybersecurity in general. It's a system of practices, rules, and conduct designed to protect networks, devices, programs, and data from attack, damage, or unauthorized access. Cybersecurity may also be referred to as information technology or IT security, right? If you're thinking like I was going to give you a very long lecture about cybersecurity, I was not, because that's all you need to know. When you need the safety or security for your money, you go to bank. When you need the safety and security for your home, you buy a home security system. But when you need to secure those systems applied in your home and within the bank, you need a cybersecurity expert. That's the cybersecurity in general. Next up, while there are different professions within cybersecurity, but there are only two professions that are famous and very popular throughout the time. If you have heard of hacking, then the first thing people think about, okay, there are two kinds of hackers. One who break into things, and then there's another thing called ethical hacker. But when you go deep into this field, you are going to learn one more thing called penetration testing. And people get confused of what is an ethical hacker and what's a penetration tester. So here we are going to differentiate between two of them. If you're an ethical hacker, your job is to do a thorough assessment. While if you're a penetration tester, you will be doing more focused kind of testing. Being an ethical hacker gives you freedom to attack throughout the network. You are not bound to just one particular system. You can move around within the network. But freedom doesn't mean getting wild. You cannot trip the systems. You cannot break down the systems to the extent that they do not work or data loss. So freedom means within your scope and within the limits. Whereas if you're a penetration tester, your work will be bound towards one specific part of the network or a program. So let's suppose if I am an ethical hacker and there is an accounting system working within that organization, any kind of accounting system, ERP or CRM, CS, CMS, if they're using that kind of systems. If I'm an ethical hacker, I will try to use every single tool as a black hat. But once again, within my scope and within the limits, without harming the system to the extent of data loss or something bad happening, right? While if I'm a penetration tester, I will look into the small details. If there is an upload option to upload attachments to any kind of statement, let's suppose if you're entering any kind of invoice and you do have a physical copy, a hard copy of invoice, and you have an option to scan that invoice and attach that invoice within that system as a reference. So as a penetration tester, your work will be to focus on that thing and make sure that there is no other file extensions allowed. So once again, ethical hacker cannot upload any kind of payload and get access to that machine. Next up, who are those people? Where they belong? What are their positions? What are their roles? What are their jobs? So when you look into any of those security, IT security or cybersecurity organizations, you will find red team, you will find a blue team, and you will find a purple team. Red teams are offensive security professionals who are experts in attacking systems and breaking into defenses. Now, blue teams are defensive security professionals responsible for maintaining internal network defenses against all cyber attacks and threats. Now, if you go back again, can you relate it to ethical hacking and penetration testing? If yeah, that's really good. If no, then you need to take a screenshot of it and learn more about it. And then come back to the concept of red team and a blue team. But there is also a purple team. These teams bring both red and blue teams together while encouraging them to work as a team to share insights and create a strong feedback loop. While in a real life scenario, red teams are kind of very much hesitant in sharing their plans with the blue team, and blue teams are also very much hesitant to share their plans with the red team. One is trying to break into the systems while other is constantly trying to patch things up. And sometimes things get heated, even though they are working for one common goal to strengthen the security of that system. But it's a human nature to get competitive. There comes the purple team. Now the purple team brings these teams together and arrange a meeting or a conference and force them to share the plans, whereas purple team is an independent team itself. They are completely aware of the operations going on within the red team and the operations going on within the blue team. So the people within the purple team are also very experienced cybersecurity experts, and they can be your boss or any kind of general manager or any senior executive from your company. Next up, what's going to happen if you decided to land yourself within this industry? Before that, you have to go through each and every category that I'm going to describe over here, because this is going to give you a better idea where you're going to stand. Now, you know these two important roles, then you know what kind of departments or divisions you're going to work within, and then it comes what you're going to be in reality, whether you're going to be a white hat hacker who are authorized to hack into systems, working for governments, private organizations, and they're helping different companies to create defenses, detect vulnerabilities, and solve them before other cyber criminals can find them. Or you want to be the part of black hat hackers. They are also knowledgeable computer experts, but with the wrong intentions. So they're criminals, basically, cyber criminals. You have heard this term. A lot of times people find it denial of services or ransomware. So these are the people called black hat hackers. Now the term actually comes from Hollywood movies because you have seen them in the movies wearing a black hat, sitting in a shadow. So the term comes from there, and then so on with a white hat and gray hat. So black hats, they hack into organizations, networks, and steal bank data, funds, or sensitive information to profit it for themselves, sell them on the black market, or harass their target company. So the gray hat hackers they're not certified yet, but they can be certified in the future. But they're not certified yet. These type of hackers work with either good or bad intentions. It really depends on their mood. They enjoy experimenting with systems to find loopholes, crack defenses, and generally find a fun hacking experience. They create cracks for fun, just to show their dominance, that even they're not certified, but they're still able to bypass all the security measures that a software developer has put into his code or into that software, just to show their dominance. But as I said, it completely depends on their intentions. Some might implement a rootkit or a backdoor, or maybe a ransomware within the patch. You run it. I've seen a lot of social media posts that they downloaded a crack from somewhere for a paid software. They run it, and now the system is gone. It's asking money in the Bitcoin. So it can be a gray hat hacker, or it can be a black hat. It can be a black hat hacker. Next up, we have script kiddies. These are the unprofessional amateurs with half knowledge. They do not know nothing. They steal from here, they steal from there. They try to hack the systems with the scripts from other hackers. So these are like completely wild people, I would say. And the finest example is people who put a lot of videos in front, and now I'm not gonna talk about it, but you got the idea. Like, they do not know nothing about how the system works, but since they have done it one time with the help of some tools, by the scripts written by a lot of people, so they're going to keep doing it they just want to show off that they can do it too. But in general, they have no idea. So don't be like a script kiddie. All right. Next up, we have green hat hackers. They're completely opposite to script kiddies. They're also very new to this field. But instead of bumping their heads here and there and try to do stupid things, they try to actually learn something. And they follow the leads of those who have already proven themselves. So being a new guy is not a problem, but being a stupid person is a very big problem. So if you're relatively new to this field, don't worry. Learn something and then try to hack something. But do not just jump into it and try to hack things. Anyways, blue hat hackers, they are employed to bug test a system. When you talk about blue hat hackers, they're mostly related to Microsoft, because Microsoft hired them to test their own systems and all kind of vulnerabilities within their systems and Windows. But there's also a group of people who says that they're just like script kiddies, because they are just doing stuff to take revenge. They do not know nothing but to destroy someone out of jealousy or revenge, and they do not want to study within this field or do anything. They just want to know something for a brief period of time, and that's it. So next up, we have redhead hackers, or eagle-eyed hackers. They're similar to white hat hackers, but they do not defend only. Their goal is to destroy the systems and the complete networks of the attackers. So they're kind of angry all the times and they're very aggressive. If they found someone, if they found that someone is trying to attack their systems, they're gonna go back, track the IP or track the where the attack is coming from, and they're going to do the same kind of thing to that person. Then we have state or nation sponsored hackers. They work for the governments and they report to the governments only. They use their knowledge to gain confidential information from other countries to be prepared for any kind of upcoming conflict, to prepare their defenses or maybe any kind of attack in the near future. But overall, they work to prevent internal and external attack. Then we have hacktivists. These types of hackers intend to hack government websites. They pose themselves as activists. They have always agenda or a purpose. So they can be an individual or a team of people whose intent is just to show off or kind to be prominent within the media or spread their message or any kind of agenda that they are trying to propagate. But also they work to gain the data from government files and leak the heck out of it to the public platforms. Then we have the whistleblowers. They work same as hacktivists, but their agenda is just to destroy their rivals. They're just there to expose their enemy. They have some sort of that rivalry. It can be political, it can be, based on a business or any kind of rivalry it can be. So they expose their confidential information to destroy the rival's reputation. Bonus point: Purple Hat Hackers, also known as show-off hackers, in my opinion. Some people think that purple hat hackers are constantly working towards better goal, but I have encountered them as people who create a lot of mess. In the name of testing something, they always destroy. And then they're trying to fix it and taking a lot of time. So I do not want to encourage anyone to be the part of purple hat hacking or call themselves as a purple hat hacker, because they're just trying to, in the name of research, in the name of education, they're trying to break into things and they break it permanently. But when you go to them and ask how to fix it, they will always tell you that they're still learning. So please do not fall into that category. It's really annoying. Next up, starting point. If you're still with me, congratulations, because you are going to learn something really important. If you're a student or an IT professional, or you're coming from any other profession of life, and you want to start within the field of cybersecurity, then you must need to have this section within your grasp. But first thing first, your foundation must be super strong. If you do not know how to switch on the computer, if you're not familiar with basic hardware and software stuff, what's a keyboard, what's a mouse, what's a RAM, what's a hard disk, then you must need to get your facts and information straight before you continue. And if you know all those things, then move along, because you are going to need a bit more than that. You must have to have a basic information about systems and networks. You have the ability to learn for the rest of your life. You can, if you are someone who wants to just finish off the certification or a degree in computer science and say that I am done for the life, I'm not gonna learn anything more, and my life will be complete, and I'm going to work the rest of my life based on the knowledge that I have just learned within my college or university. That's not the case here. Everything evolves during the time within cybersecurity. There is always a new threat, there's always a new bad guy, there's always a bad news every single day. Before 2017, no one has an idea about ransomware. Now, if you look at the statistics, you will find out that those are the most destructive kind of attacks that have been put together. So there's always something new. You must be very competitive. You must be the hardest working person in the room. On top of that, you're going to need some basic skills about Linux. Since we are working mostly on Debian based operating systems, we need to be more aware and more proficient in our Linux skills. So if you're looking to go deep into learning your Linux skills, then these are the links I have given out: linuxjourney.com, kali.training, overthewire.org. If your Linux skills are just okay, you can move around within the system. You can definitely move towards the next skill, which is our coding skills. Now, for the coding skills, I do not expect someone to be a full-time developer, but at least you must be a bit knowledgeable on how to read code and how to understand those code. And as I have always emphasized, please start with Python. Now you can go to freecodecamp.org and you can register yourself for a very free course for Python. Within few weeks, you will be very much proficient. If you're learning it to be a full-time developer, then you will need more than 6 weeks. But if you're working to learn Python just to understand the code and to learn the code itself, then it's not gonna take you more than few hours, I guess. If you watch tutorials worth of 6 to 8 hours, you will get through. If you know the basic stuff, you will get through everything within the code. Next up, the thing that I missed out is your network skills. Before all of these skills, you need to be very much proficient in your networks too. You must have idea about how internet works. So if you're not familiar with physical hierarchies, TCP/IP model, or in general OSI model, the services running on different kind of ports, TCP three-way, handshake, subnetting, what are the octets, what's an IP address, how IP address transports the data through the network. You must have to have basic information and knowledge. I'm not going to tell you to have a master's degree in networking, but at least you must have a basic knowledge. You know how to connect the internet through IPs, how SSH works, how IP system works in general. All right, next up, we're going to talk about our hacking skills. In the future videos, you are going to see me using tryhackme.com, hackthebox, ctftime.org, hackthesite.org. So these are the sites to learn your hacking skills. Now, if I continue to demonstrate those websites within this video, it's going to take a lot of time. So I encourage you to go to these websites and try to learn something new. And you can always come back to the lessons that I'm going to provide to compare them and to see my point of view. Next up, we are going to talk about Pen 200 in a while. So I'm going to jump over to exploit development and privilege escalation. So exploit development is generally a payload that you deploy within a target system to create a backdoor. Then we are going to talk about privilege escalation tools. When you have successfully hacked into a system, you will get at the user level. But in order to perform elevated operations, you need a privilege escalation. You need to be a root. You need to be an administrator. So if you are already within a system as a user, then you will need to utilize some privilege escalation tools to jump one level up. For Windows, we have Mimikatz. For Linux, we have a Smash Potato, we have CredDump, PowerSploit, and Exploit Suggester itself. Once again, you do not need to be too much worried about these things. You will know each and everything when we will move towards. All you need to do is focus on these things right on your screen, and that's it. So, what kind of degrees and certifications you need to start? If you're completely beginner, then you can go for A plus for IT beginners. So I have given you the list of certifications that a lot of countries recognize. But if you just want to get started, you can always find a replacement for those certifications. You can go over to CompTIA A plus and get the list of topics that they're going to teach you in A plus and try to find a competitive or a substitute certification within your local area or within your country. Next up, we have Network Plus, or from Cisco, we have CCNA for your knowledge and skills in networking. And then we have Pentest Plus for advanced penetration testing. We have Security Plus for detailed cybersecurity skills. And of course, we have Certified Ethical Hacker. And then we have Pen 200. Now, I want to show you something in detail about Pen 200. So if you come to this link, you will find out that you will need to pay this much money to get this certification, and it's completely self-guided, and you have one attempt. If you have exhausted your attempt, then what to do? Come down here and you will find all their packages over here, what to do. In case you want to retake, you need to pay $150. If you want a whole year of lab access plus 2 attempts, then you gotta pay $21.48, right? But most important thing is right here, the course outline. Focus on these things rather than focusing on money. Now, if you go through the videos that I have posted earlier, you will find out that there is a buffer overflow over there. Part 1 and Part 2. Part 1 covers in a lot of theory, whereas Part 2 covers the real buffer overflow. Most of the people just think that, okay, buffer overflows were the things of the past on 32-bit system. It's not going to be very much important. But look again, Pen 200 wants you to learn buffer overflows, and there are 20 points worth of challenges when you are going to perform your active lab. So come to this page and learn what it is and set your goals accordingly, because this should be your final approach after all. In case if you are looking to just gain the knowledge and you're trying to cover up everything within your hand, then I would suggest that you go to tryhackme.com. It's a very wonderful website that is going to teach a lot of things to you. So you have complete beginner courses over here, and you will find your estimated time with the number of tasks and different number of rooms. I suggest you to sign up and try to learn something before jumping into any kind of conclusion. Okay, back to our presentation. So, as I said, free resources for learning and practice, plus earn money if you can. You have tryhackme.com, you have hackthebox.eu, root-v.org, Pico CTF. CTF is basically capture the flag thing. Capture the flag, CTF. The whole concept is you have to hack into the system, and within the system there is a flag, there is a note, or there is a document that says bunch of different strings, and you have to pick up those strings and submit. Just imagine that I'm sitting right here and I'm trying to hack into any of those computers out there in the world. So if I succeed, I will be into someone's computer, and then I will be watching all of their icons, and I will be accessing all of their files. So one of those files will be called the flag, and I have to capture that flag and submit to gain my points. So these kind of practices actually makes your skills pretty much strong, and when you are going to practice one by one, facing different kind of scenarios every day, eventually you're going to become an expert, right? So we have ctftime.org, we have ovas.org, hacker101, pentestlab.com. And if you are familiar with penetration testing and ethical hacking, you can go out to hackerone.com, bugcrowd.com, openbugbounty.org, portswinger.net. They will pay you the money to find vulnerabilities and to hack into their systems. Give them a visit and see how many companies are there. So all right, here we are on bugcrowd.com/programs. These are the real companies paying you real money. If you are able to find any kind of vulnerability in one password, they're going to pay you based on that severeness or seriousness of that threat. They're going to pay you $300 to up to $30,000. If you're a freelancer, you must be familiar with this platform, Upwork. So Upwork is also paying you based on their threats. Then you have Western Union over here. So you get my point. You learn something and you apply it to constructive feedback. Now back to our presentation. So we have HackerOne, BugCrowd, OpenBugBounties.org, portswinger.net. So finally, what jobs are out there? How long will it take for you to be there? To answer your second question first, it really depends on you. As soon as you learn, the more faster you're going to be there. And if you're wondering, you can always go on to different job searching platforms and use these terms such as penetration tester, ethical hacker, system analyst, incident response handler, IT network security, cybersecurity manager, information security analyst, IT system risk management, software quality assurance, security operations center. Sometimes they need managers, sometimes they need other staff in SQA and SOC. Sometimes there is a requirement for a recruitment consultant who can just be the person to help HR department to find the right kind of person. So I'm going to give you all these slides. I hope you had your pen and paper and you wrote down all these informations as I was going through. But if not, please download this presentation, keep it with you, and go through it once again by yourself. All those links that I have provided in here, go all of those links. If you do not understand anything, do not worry, because we are going to learn one by one about each and everything. You do not have to worry about anything right now. All you need to do is go back to the first page, read everything, and when you reach at the end, Try to question yourself whether is this field for you or not. So that's all for this lesson today, and I am hoping to see you in the next lesson. Goodbye.